Essentially, our hearts, um, so essentially everyone's heart here, including my own, are defiled to some extent, meaning that there's like dirt that is inside of it and covering it. And the Buddha gave a metaphor of like there's like gold, like there's like a gold digger, and when they get the gold out of the ground, when it comes out, it's like in this dirt ball. So our hearts have this core goodness and kind of golden bright nature at their core, but there's all this dirt actually covering it and very, very hard stuck to it as well. These are essentially like negativities, conceit, and like um, unwholesome like residues that we've kind of left on our energetic being, on our heart. So, with the spiritual purification, heart purification, it's like a process of scrubbing off these residues and these dirts that have stained and covered our heart. And then the heart aliveness, heart brightness, heart vibrancy is like when these like little specks or little spots of this gold gets a chance to touch and be in contact with the air. Another image from the Buddha is of like a snake shedding off its old skin. So the heart is like that fresh, alive, vibrant skin. But when a snake is at the stage of molting, it has two layers of skin. So this inner layer of skin is the heart nature, which is very alive, vibrant, and fresh. But then it's covered by this old, constrictive, parasite-ridden, afflictive skin all over it. And one aspect of the purification process, when we come to this breathing and sensing, why we have to sensitize to the suffering of these ego conditionings, identity conditionings, is because when we sensitize and clarify the reality of the suffering of this mind, imagination, ego that is covering our heart, or of these residues that afflict us, these dirts, that is when from the core, this instinctual, primal, primitive nature can start to come off, that one needs to shed that off, get that off, scrub that off. And some of these ego things, identity things, are like a weed that is very deeply rooted into our heart. Like maybe it just has like a small top that we can see, but then when we try to shed that off, pull that out, that conditioning, it just like, whoa, it just so many roots, so many expansions that it has. My teacher also used this metaphor of like uh, they did not say the English word correctly, so I have to remember it now correctly. Like a sea urchin has these pangs that are poisonous. So there's also kind of like these pangs that are also within our heart, or thorns that have a poisonous nature to them, that afflict, sicken our heart. So when we return to the breathing and sensing, gather our beings so that the heart sensitivity increases, we can also start to gain a greater clarity and sensitivity to the presence of some of these pangs or thorns that may be within the heart. So part of the purification process is also kind of starting to sensitize to those, and eventually it's kind of a twofold process. As we develop the wholesomeness of the heart and the heart's healthiness by developing wholesome qualities, we increase the healthiness of the heart, and then the heart's immunity, similar to when like a virus is present, when we increase the health of the heart through the development of wholesomeness, the heart's immunity can start to increase. And then there's actually a very natural nature to the heart that it will actually start to actually kind of reject or repel some of these things from it, like viruses from a healthy body. And that's also a way to describe the spiritual purification process. So it's a bit twofold in many ways. So we're developing the wholesomeness within, which is developing that sense of intentness, centeredness, unification, gatheredness. And then many wholesome qualities we also have to develop, such as generosity, humility, gratitude, the conscience, and so this development of the wholesome, and then this kind of sensitization and clarification of the unwholesome, and this kind of investigation, digging into that. So the spiritual purification process has this twofold emphasis, or twofold development, where at different times in our life we can emphasize one or the other.